I hate making a video like this where I have to be negative about something I really love. Um, I felt like this with Halo, but at least, they can fix that, and the campaign really fixed all my fears, but, I don't think this can be fixed, or it'll probably just be turned into DLC. You know, it's just... So essentially, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach came out. I enjoy it. You may think by the title I don't, and I hate it. But I'm underwhelmed and disappointed with a lot of the things. Maybe I was foolish for expecting more than there should have been, but there's, the design and elements of everything. It's so good looking. The mall looks amazing, and the fact that a 20-person team who developed the game managed to pull that off is amazing. Using a lot of store-bought assets, but I'm not going to criticize people for that. But it seems like this game was rushed. It feels like there's no story, and it feels like a lot of the things are not explained. Oh, you're expecting explanations from a FNAF game. Well, let me explain to you why I'm expecting explanations. First off, it's a AAA game. This isn't an indie game anymore. If this is supposed to be a AAA game, I expect a proper ending. I don't expect a freaking comic book telling me, the end, right? Because the endings, all they are comic books. So why, this is a AAA game. This is something an indie game would do. I could go into Source Filmmaker and easily animate those comic book endings. If I really wanted to. That's how simple they are. I don't get how hard it would have been for, someone in the background to spend, a few $1,000s on, some animation. I mean, unless Scott truly isn't behind the scenes. If he's not behind the scenes and Skill Roll was just kind of by themselves, then, you know what, fuck Twitter still. I'll talk about this later. But still, the story just doesn't feel complete. A lot of the things feel unexplained, and they made the lore more confusing. This is a AAA game. It shouldn't make... It has so much power to tell a much cleaner story. In the trailers for Security Breach.
One more. Are you ready?
We didn't get the freaking Afton speaking. We didn't get Vanny telling the kid everything they're going to hunt you down. We didn't get her looking at the elevator. We never got any of that. I was expecting to see that. I was going and expecting to see that. The game looks completely different. It genuinely, pisses me off that we didn't get this. And instead we just got what was a over-budgeted indie game. I was expecting to see that in the game. We never saw that. Never saw that. I feel lied to. I feel like something went wrong back there, and I'm upset because been waiting for this game for a while, and now that it came out in an unfinished state, and they probably had to rush the story, so it would make sense. It doesn't make sense, because everyone's saying, oh, the story's more confusing now. Well, of course it's going to be confusing, because they didn't have time to finish it! You dumbasses are saying, oh, It's so confusing now. FNAF is dead. Like, no. It's probably because the game got rushed. The game got rushed and to be played, and there's also some other things people have found from sources on Discord, on the Freddys Discord. According to someone named Seaboard Jet, who is a game dev, someone in the deving community, he was data mining it, and apparently a lot of the dialogue was replaced. So the story is more kid-friendly, and the only reason we can assume this was done is because Sony. And we can also probably assume Sony rushed them to get it out. And if Scott isn't behind the scenes, then it's likely that he couldn't tell them, no, we gotta keep this going so we can make it the best game ever. If he truly is gone, it's not like he had to say any of this, and the franchise was left in Steelwool's hand. And if it is still in his hands and he's just behind everything, well, you can't even make a statement about this, telling us what happened. And I doubt Steelwool can if they're under some contract, so it's just like this is the problem. This is what happens when you cancel people, Twitter. Thank you, you Tumblr rejects. You frickin' societal rejects. You dyed-haired freaks who just go and simp for underage boys. Trust me, the same people that cancel Scott probably are homophobic themselves. A lot of these people claim to be against the very thing that they're trying to promote against. Trust me. These people make homophobic jokes in private all the time. I know these types of people. And they usually probably simp for underage boys, like they do with Tommy or whatever his name is in the Minecraft community. They always go for the underage boys all the time. I don't know why these Twitter people do that all the time. And I just don't like them, right? They canceled someone and then they're saying, "Oh, FNAF is dead." Yeah. You're kind of in fault for that, you rejects, you freaking societal rejects. I wish you all stayed on Tumblr, right? Like, Tumblr was a place where these people just didn't have any power, and then they went to Twitter, and because they have more reach, now they can cancel anyone they like, because they're a bunch of freaking dictatorship assholes, okay? They're a bunch of authoritarians who were taught to think that everyone should think the way they do, because they can't handle other people's opinions because they're weak, like losers. They just spent their whole entire life sheltered and privileged, and now they're going to go around frickin' claiming like everyone that offends them. And I know this is a little more political of a rant, but I'm just going to put this in here because that's kind of the reason why I hate those types of people. I see them in the streets. I see them everywhere. Because I know they probably had a part in canceling Scott. I'm angry about that. I am angry about that. That they were like, oh, we're just going to do this just for the fun of it. Because these people weren't actually offended. These people usually aren't offended by these things. But they pretend to be offended so they have a reason to be angry and outraged because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel like they're doing a good thing. But in general, they don't actually think. They're not actually offended by things. And I'm just angry, right? I'm angry about that. And not all people with dyed hair act like this, alright? Don't think I'm generalizing people like that. Just the people on Twitter. Like, this is a whole video in itself to explain psychology, but anyways, so yeah, well, let's go back here, and let me show you some other things that were cut from the game, right? Let me show you this. There we go. Let's look at this jump scare first. The one on the top genuinely makes me jump every time I see it. That's so much more scarier. Every other jump scare in the game is just so underwhelming, unless it's like the Withered animatronics. They actually have good ones, because their AI is more suited to scare you. I would argue that. Um, the sun drop and moon drop are pretty spooky too, but it's just these things right here. These why were they dumped? That they were so much better. It makes no sense. Probably because Sony wanted them to lower the age rating, so you gotta make it less scary. Like, why does everything have to be for everyone now, right? I hate this approach of, oh, no blood, no gore, you can't go there, you might offend someone. Like, who cares? It's a horror game, god damn it! Like, there's so much potential here, and it's being held back by the suits, I assume. I'm not gonna blame a 20-man studio for a game coming out unpolished. It's usually the people on top causing the problems. It's just annoying to me. It really is annoying. And a lot of the story, like, you go and you find all these messages and stuff, and I just, like, the story just doesn't feel complete, alright? And, like, look at fan games like The Joy of Creation, or, like, I think Final Nights, I believe. They had stories that gave you a lot of questions, answered a lot of them, but not all of them, and made people theorize about them. They were conclusive. Hell, even Five Nights at Fredbear's 2 is conclusive. I don't know if 3 will be. But, and I aim to, like, make it conclusive, right? So that the ending feels good. The ending is the thing that you always want to nail. The ending and the beginning. You always have to get those right. Or else you will feel, the player will feel underwhelmed when they beat the game. So getting the frickin' beginning, like the beginning, you just find yourself in Freddy without any explanation. It's never explained in the game. You have to theorize about that. Outside of the game, right? You know, that's definitely, like, the mystery for who Gregory is, never explained in the game. And don't give me the excuse it's a FNAF game, right? That's just lazy. Forcing the fans to write the story for you with theories is just lazy. You should explain it yourself. Saying that, oh, it's just because it's FNAF, and, you know, it's just, you're supposed to theorize, you're not supposed to get all that. It's a freaking AAA game. People who play AAA games aren't really intelligent, right? The normies aren't intelligent. They gotta know everything has to be explained in a way. And then let the smart people figure it out better, right? So, like, why? Like, the most I can gather is that he's a homeless kid who snuck into Freddy Fazbear's, and he somehow ended up in Freddy's chest in the beginning. And the ending, like, it's just, how am I supposed to be attached to a kid I don't understand? How am I supposed to be attached to Gregory and understand who he is? And his motives, his wants, his needs, when he suggests no desire of where he wants to go or what he wants to do. Like, it's like, you understand how underwhelming that can be, right? Like, I'm not crazy here thinking that there should be a story. Maybe I'm coming off of Halo Infinite and I'm expecting shit to be answered. Because in Halo Infinite, when you got the audio logs and stuff, it actually explained a lot of stuff, and it was interesting. Because it takes place with a 6-month period where you don't know what happened. You don't know what happened to the Infinity. You don't know if the war was won or lost. We sort of know that, but the audio logs explain everything that happened. Like, you can find them in different stories and orders, and that's how it should be done. They should be there to explain the story and maybe give some lore tidbits. You shouldn't have useless message notes everywhere with the occasional lore splatter. Like, telling me what happened to Bonnie in a message, like, it's that kind of implies what happens, doesn't really explain a lot. Because apparently Bonnie was either killed by Monty, because Monty's a jealous prick, or he was taken off because he kept wandering during the night or something. And maybe it's good to theorize about those things. I mean, the Halo Infinite audio logs allow you to theorize a lot. I mean, but it's like if everything has to be theorized about, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel like it's a conclusive story. It feels incomplete. This game feels like it's a fan game, actually. It felt like it's a game I would make, actually. So, what else is there, right? Well, the animatronics are all scuffed and bugged, right? Like, even the AI in Five Nights at Fredbear's 3, 2, and 1 are better. Because, at the very least, when they teleport like FNAF, like the Wizard Glamrock Chica does, at least you can actually combat it better. Like, when you first fight Glamrock Chica, she just teleports all over the rooms. And half the time, she could teleport on you, and it's just bullshit. I did it for my game where Rod and Golden Freddy will teleport in a few set locations that you just have to memorize. And then you can just understand what will happen if he sees you. And I feel, and for an open world game, it's not going to be that easy to do that, to be fair, but, you know, yeah. And there was times when I was playing the game where Monty, during the DJ Music Man boss fight, it's not really a fight, would just slide and he pounces on you, and then he just slides and goes through all the walls, which made the game easier, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that happened. But it just doesn't feel like it's a AAA game, right? It doesn't feel like something Nixon would make, which was what I was expecting. Like, a lot of the models kind of look low-poly in areas, and like, it just feels like a lot of stuff was left out and a lot of stuff was cut out, either due to Sony or something to do with Scott, and I'm disappointed. There's so much potential here, and it's been wasted, and maybe it'll be added back in DLC. Which, I don't know, can you even patch this in? Like, you kind of made a complete story, you fucked up the timeline. Like, even Daco and Markiplier didn't even like the game. Like, when I couldn't even get to one of the endings because the game soft locks. There are so many soft locks in the game that prevent you from accessing, so you have to make 1,000 different save files. And the game's 80 gigabytes for some reason. I don't understand why it's 80 gigabytes. This game doesn't feel like it should be worth 80 gigabytes. There's so many soft locks that happens where I was stuck on Phaser Blast and I couldn't get the Vanny ending. I couldn't even open Monty's door so when the game was at the 6 a.m. phase, so I couldn't even go and try to get the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzaplex ending. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place ending. Because, you know, that should have been an exciting moment when you go down and you see the old location from FNAF 6. But I watched Daco play, he was freaking out. And he has the freaking spoilers in the title, that's another thing that pisses me off. Here are Markiplier's titles. They don't give a lot. Let's see. Let's look at Fusion Z's. Let's look at Fusion Z's titles. Let's look at them. Like, I love you, Fusion Z, but you know, Fanny's secret sister burning down the pizzeria after the animatronic. Oh, let's look at Dacos. Let's look at that Dacos. You know I had like 3 things spoiled for me. Well, sort of Vengeful's fault because he kind of revealed it, but he did help me a lot for the game. All right, let's look at this. Look at this. Let's look at this. He will always come back. What happened to Vanny? Well, these are more vague, so I can forgive that. Final ending changes everything. Yeah, it's less, but still, you spoiled Afton would come back, which, to be fair, you could probably tell, but... Like, you YouTubers have to keep... Why do you guys always put spoilers in the title? This happened with Halo Infinite. I had, like some of the stories spoiled because people just kept putting spoilers in the titles. Like, change the title. Like, I get these get more clicks, and maybe you need to make a living, right? I can understand that, but I don't know. It's just like a double-edged sword. You either make a bunch of money, or you don't spoil people. Which, to be fair, a bunch of little kids don't even care about spoilers, so... But yeah, I wish I could have been there, doing the Vanny ending myself, and actually beating the game. I would have freaking freaked out if I just saw that Afton ending for the first time. But because it was spoiled, and because the game was kind of buggy itself, I didn't get to have that reaction. And that's why I'm upset. I didn't get to have the reaction of the real reveal that you're going back to the old location. And even then, the lore implications for this really pisses me off, because this suggests that Five Nights at Freddy's 6 was for nothing. Henry burning down the place was for nothing, because he just comes back. And then Molten Freddy's okay too. You know, Baby's dead. And they, for some reason, they all use the Five Nights at Freddy's freaking... They don't even use the proper model. Molten Freddy is literally just Funtime Freddy. And he's a little bit more thicker now. And then Afton sort of has a different look, which I can forgive because we can assume Vanny was down there. Maybe Molten Freddy got a new head. The Lefty and Baby are completely dead, but Baby doesn't even have the same face. But it just feels like... You know, it just feels like FNAF 6 was for nothing when, you know, the place is burnt down, you come back, and it's like this scary underground place, and I don't know, I guess we can explain it as Vanny repaired Afton again, but it kind of feels like it was all for nothing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry this video's gone long enough. I know looking at someone speaking is not, like, entertaining as someone putting PowerPoint presentations and videos all over your face. And I know some of you just know me as the guy who makes the Five Nights at Fredbear's fan games, but I don't know. When my fan game, my Five Nights at Fredbear's free fan game, has a more interesting story to me and a more like don't get me wrong, this game was fun to play, right? Security Breach is fun. I love the locations, I love all the aesthetics, I like the animatronic designs for the most part, and I love the characters. It's just there's a lot missing, and I just wish the game was delayed. It should have been delayed. Like, I hate Sony even more now. Because I fully blame them for this. I'm not going to blame a 20-man team of people. Because a lot of people will fucking blame the developers. Don't fucking blame the developers. They want to give you an experience. Most of the time, they don't want to steal your money or hate you. In most major companies, developers are like slaves, but in most like smaller companies like Free for Free or Steel Wool, I highly doubt they wanted this to happen. No developer wants to release an unfinished game or release a buggy mess. it's usually the people on the top who are screwing over the developers, like Sony or Microsoft. Um, the fact that Halo 2 and Halo Infinite came out the way it did, despite going through development hell, was amazing. But I really wish that happened with this game. I really wish that, despite its bad development, because we can probably infer it went through bad development, it came out amazing. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. And honestly, I'm disappointed that we're never going to get the game shown in the trailers. And I doubt a DLC is ever going to come out to show us that game, or a patch will come out to give us that game. They're probably just going to make a completely different story, and, that's going to... Like, what the fuck? What else am I supposed to say? Maybe give us proper endings? I don't know. It's not a live service game. You can't just patch it into completion. It's supposed to be a complete game, and I doubt they'd actually do it. Like, I don't... Maybe Scott would stop, letting them do their thing after this. I mean, they were good at the VR game. Just keep making them make VR games and give the rights to a better studio. But, yet again, I don't even think, there would be a better studio. I don't know. Because Steel Wolf seems super passionate about FNAF, and maybe they just need more developers or more time. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm scrambling words or saying wrong things. I'm passionate about FNAF, and to say people saying, oh, it's dead now, or to say people blaming the developers, or to see people, not acknowledging the proper criticisms, and not being reasonable about it, it's just upsetting to me. It's really upsetting to me. I'm just gonna continue work on my fan game. I'll try to get it out sooner now, because it seems like no one's gonna want to play Security Breach anymore, which, you know what, I may as well get my game done so that everyone else can have something else to laugh at. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.